welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. Today I'm going to totally nerd out and I'm going to talk about The Dark Tower. It's a series of books written by Stephen King, and according to IMDb, they are doing a movie of it in 2017. And there's some things that I think are good, some things that I'm really not too crazy about, I gotta be honest. Right now the front runner to play Roland Deschain, the main character from the Dark Tower books, is Idris Elba. It starts out almost like kind of a Western. You know, like the first line of the first book is, the man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed, okay? And from there, the first couple pages, first couple chapters, it really just appears to be like a Western. And it's not until the story goes on that it starts to unfold and you're like, oh wow, this is like a really different kind of fantasy, you know, where there are these people known as gunslingers, all but Roland are essentially extinct, and they're sort of like the Knights of the Round Table, like they're the keepers of justice, but they're cowboys. It's a really, really cool idea, and the character of Roland is very, very, very complex because he's like Captain Ahab. He's searching for the Dark Tower. He's lost a whole bunch of shit on the way to getting there, and he's getting there, okay? Any of the people that he travels with, like, he will help them. He will risk life and limb to save their lives, but at the end of the day, if they get in his way to making it to the Dark Tower, he will throw them under the train. Very complex character, because even though you root for him, at the end of the day, he's still really kind of a piece of shit, okay? Now, in terms of casting Idris Elba in the role, as an actor, he would kill it, alright? I don't know, you guys should check out Beasts of No Nation if you have Netflix. Fantastic job. It's a dude that, like, you love him a little and you fucking hate him too. He could really understand and capture the complexity of Roland, alright? But I will say this. Roland in the books is a white dude. Just hear me out, okay? Like, there's a lot of roles that have been traditionally white that have been given to black people that have really worked, you know? Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White in the Man of Steel movies, fantastic. I hear they're planning on casting Ice Cube to play James Jonah Jameson. Personally, I think that would be awesome. There's been a lot of instances where that happened. In this particular case, okay, there is another character in the books. She has a split personality, alright? When she first gets there, she's known as Odetta. But she has two personalities, Odetta and Detta, okay? And Odetta is just really sweet, passive, like wouldn't hurt a fly. And Detta is a psychotic, like racist, white-hating, murderous, evil lady. And that's very, very, very important, particularly in the second book. There's another character, Eddie, who's an ex-heroin addict that Roland pulls through from our world. They call it the world next door. Really cool. But he pulls Eddie through, and him and Eddie are at odds. Eddie's like, fuck you, man, I need a fix. I want to get the fuck out of here. And Roland's like, no, you're staying right there. And it's like, you know, when Roland goes into our world, you really think that, like, Eddie's gonna fucking kill his lifeless body on the beach. It's a lot of tension. But one of the things that sort of makes them work together for the first time is the fact that when Detta, she disappears somewhere up in the hills, and she takes, like, one of Roland's guns, or both of them, I don't remember, with her. And it's a very high tension scene because it's like she hates them. She calls them honky maffas, and, like, you know, she keeps on saying, like, all this awful shit, like, you're gonna rape me and stuff like that. And I mean, she's psychotic, and you do not doubt for a second that she would willingly kill both of them. It creates all this tension in the scene because it's like she's escaped and now they're both sort of like, fuck, what do we do? There's also like a lot of things that happen later on in the story where it's like once she gets a handle on that and she becomes Susanna, it's basically like her two personalities sort of come together into who she was supposed to be, which is a gunslinger from our world. They need to call on her again to do some like dirty work, you know, because she's really the only one that's capable of doing it. So the race factor actually plays a very pivotal role to the plot. I mean, like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna keep Susanna black? Like, because then she'd only really be threatening to Eddie. And it's like, again, in book 2, you don't really have any emotional investment to Eddie. He's a junkie. You don't know him yet. You know, he hasn't reached his full potential. This is kind of what I'm thinking they're gonna do. They're gonna make her a white racist redneck because probably because they feel that's more societally acceptable. if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If that were not a factor in this, and they were going to cast Idris Elba to play Roland, I would be like, hell yes, man, hell yes, he would be fantastic. They brought up him potentially playing James Bond, and I know that somebody involved, I don't know if it was the creator of James Bond or whatever, said like, oh no, he's too street. That was a douchebag thing to say. I mean, yes, he apologized for it afterward. I think that was just to save his ass, though. That was a douchebag thing to say. But when you think about it, there's nothing in the James Bond stories that really needs James Bond to be a white guy. James Bond can be black. James Bond can be anything. You know, like he's just, you know, kind of a badass and a pimp. Idris Elba would be an amazing James Bond. He would not, unless they pulled something really genius out of the hat, like they would have to maneuver the story in such a way that it's disrespectful to the books. And if you've read the books, okay, I know most of you probably haven't, but if you like anything Stephen King, if you like Stephen King's stories, okay, the Dark Tower series is Stephen King's like baby, okay? It has elements and characters from like a dozen of his other books. It's epic, and to see it screwed with for really no reason, all you've really successfully done is you've sacrificed a perfectly awesome role for a black woman. You took that away and you just gave it to a black man. There's nothing like even like racially motivated that makes any lick of sense about that. I will say, okay, I have not seen the movie. I am going to go see it, all right? I'm not totally closed-minded, and, you know, again, acting-wise, I'm sure that Idris Elba is gonna kill it. It's like if you have a book series that is famous, that has like a very, very loyal following, don't fuck with it. Why do you have to fuck with it? You have source material written down for you. You don't even have to like think. You literally just transfer. They do this with video game movies. I mean, they do this with everything. Hollywood thinks that it knows better than everybody else. And even Stephen King, like, you know, apparently he's on board with this whole thing. So you know what? Hey, maybe there's something about this that I don't know. You know, maybe this movie will come out and they'll do something really clever that makes it work in its own way. And in which case, I will do a video saying like, hey guys, I was wrong, you know, it's fine. It's a growing experience. Stephen King's original idea for Roland was Clint Eastwood. He was supposed to be like the man with no name, like just sort of rolling into town. And again, even with the whole, you know, faking you out in the beginning to think that it's just your standard Western, I really, really love the source material. And I'm not a fan of the idea that right off the bat, it's not even like a tweak. It's like right off the bat, they are making huge changes to the story. No, I mean, I'm going to go out to see it. I do actually even honestly look forward to it. And I do look forward to seeing Idris Elba's performance as Roland, because again, I'm sure he's going to kill it. Any of you out there, I don't know if you're fans of the books, I don't know how you feel about the movie. You know, definitely comment on the thread. You know, have a conversation, just please, like, don't start a race war, guys. That's not what this is about, okay? It's just an observation. That's all she wrote.